In the mid-1930s, at about the same time as ordering the Grom-class destroyers from Britain, Poland started looking at its submarine arm. Clearly, the Wilks were dogs. No disrespect to the men who served on them. They just clearly weren't up to snuff. Poland needed better, especially the way this Hitler guy is talking. Again, they would have preferred to buy British, but that wasn't going to happen. So they went to the Dutch. The Dutch came back with a blueprint, a good one, based on their O-16 and similar to contemporary O-19 design, and of course the estimate, not fully realized, was the amount that German engineers were quietly involved in designing Dutch submarines. Between the wars, Germany set up lots of backroom deals in many countries to keep its technically banned submarine R&D going. Spain, Turkey, Finland, the USSR, and the list goes on. This shouldn't be too much of a surprise, as when united, Germany quickly ends up virtually running everything in Europe. That's why after both world wars, everyone was quick to break up Germany. It also explains why longtime rivals France and England became buddies about the same time Germany united. It was true then, it's true now. Anyway, the Polish government initially balked at the price tag, but the Polish people weren't having it and publicly raised the money to buy one. Somewhat ashamed of itself, the Polish government found the money to buy a second one. 2 more were planned to be built later, but the war nixed them. Again, way better than the Wilks. They were the 2 boats of the 1,100-ton surfaced and 1,473-ton submerged Orzel class. Test diving depth didn't really increase, but the use of welding made them structurally stronger and solved the problem of leaking. They were quieter and more seaworthy, even able to realistically operate outside the Baltic. Real endurance, the amount of time they could spend at sea, almost tripled. The engines were more reliable. Gone were the troublesome mine-laying chutes in favor of just laying mines the conventional way, through the torpedo tubes. A German sonar and angle solver were fitted. The number of torpedo tubes doubled with the addition of stern tubes, allowing a getaway salvo, though they were still light on the reloads. Being based on the O-16, they retained the trainable external tubes, actually doubling the number. They were double-hulled. To ease logistics with the Wilks, the tubes were 550 mm, allowing them to use the same torpedoes. That being said, acknowledging who the black sheep was, and with an eye to the future, they could also use the standard 533 mm. In short, they were really good boats for their time and size and expected area of operation. Orzel was started August 14, 1936, and was completed February 2, 1939. Sepp was started November 13, 1936, and was completed April 16, 1939. Main armament was 4 bow and 4 stern 550 mm torpedo tubes, each with a reload, though they could carry mines in lieu of torpedoes. 2 trainable twin 550 mm mounts were fitted between the inner and outer hulls, meaning they could fire off either beam, one forward of the sail and one behind it. Of course, they weren't reloadable at sea, but still, these ships could shoot 4 torpedoes at you from the front. As they churned, they could shoot 4 torpedoes at you from the side, and when they finished churning, they could shoot 4 torpedoes at you from the stern. A single 105 mm 41 caliber deck gun was carried in front of the sail. While on the surface, 2 diesel engines produced 4,740 horsepower for a speed up to 19 knots and to recharge the batteries. While submerged, the batteries generated 1,100 horsepower to drive the 2 electric motors that ran the 2 propellers for a speed of 9 knots. Submerged endurance was about 10 hours. Maximum diving depth was 80 meters. They were fitted with a German sonar. Orzel and Sepp were still at Poland on September 1, 1939. Upon hearing of the German invasion, they went out looking for German ships to attack and found them. Unfortunately, they weren't very successful, Sepp even being badly damaged by depth charges in the process. Only a few days later, with it clear how the war was going, they were ordered to clear out. The badly damaged Sepp tried to make for England, but eventually could only get as far as Sweden, where, despite being repaired, she was interred for the rest of the war. Orzel made for then still neutral Estonia, arriving there on September 14th. Her sick captain was taken off and she was officially interred. To make sure the crew didn't try anything, her maps were removed and her radio was disabled. Despite this, on September 18th, her crew overpowered their Estonian guards and she again put to sea. With no maps, no radio, or her captain, her crew used good old-fashioned dead reckoning to sail west, past Poland, past Germany, past Sweden, past Denmark, and out into the North Sea. She finally, unannounced and cautiously, arrived at Scotland near the end of the month, much to everyone's surprise and delight. After refit and training, she returned to service in April 1940, now with the Free Polish Navy, which served alongside the Royal Navy, and began patrolling the North Sea, even intercepting the German Norwegian invasion force and sinking a troop ship. After leaving port on May 23, 1940, to patrol the North Sea, she went missing. Most likely she hit a mine, but until she's found, we don't know. You left us too soon, Orzel. You left us too soon. Sepp was returned to Poland post-war, was rearmed with Soviet gear, and served until being decommissioned September 15, 1969.